Today we're going to be making something fun for Halloween. This might be something, if you have younger kids, it might be a lot of fun to choose to do for Halloween night dinner before trick-or-treating commences. So we're going to be making mummy dogs, and these are super fast. We're going to make them in our air fryer. This is our Power Air Fryer XL. We're going to be making them in here tonight, and I'm going to do 4 for you today. I may do 4 off camera and we'll see what they look like all together. It'll be really cute. We're gonna wrap these in crescent roll dough and make them up to look like mummies. We're gonna give them mustard eyes and a bloody head wound. So, isn't that fun for Halloween? Who wouldn't love that? So really this is super simple. I have some kosher hot dogs and 1 tube of the regular sized crescent roll dough, and what I've done is I've unrolled it, and you can see that I did not separate the triangles. In fact, I pinched them together, and over here I just took my knife and I just cut down strips so we can wrap them around the hot dogs. It's just going to be super simple. And because what you want to do is you want to dry it off. You don't want a whole lot of residual moisture on there. And then you're just going to start from the bottom. And then you're just going to kind of wrap it. You can crisscross it and wrap it. There is no wrong way to do this. But I do feel like you should start at the back so that your seam is like back there, if at all possible. But again, it's gonna be all covered up. See, like this one fell apart, but it's all good. Just get it on there. The mummy was not perfect, so he was just all bandaged up haphazardly. Now when you get up here, what you want to do is you just want to leave a little bit of space there for his eyes. Just like that. Boom. I'm just going to set this in the air fryer just like that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap the rest of them, and I'll be back before we start this up. Alright, our mummy dogs are all wrapped and ready to go in the air fryer. And the one thing I will say is you kind of want to make sure that they're not touching. So you want a little bit of space in between it. I know this vessel isn't super big. You can do 4 mummy dogs at once. So if you want to do a whole package of hot dogs, you're going to need 1 roll of crescent roll dough and 8 hot dogs. So a package of hot dogs. Unless they're Hebrew National, which only comes with 7 in a package. Please don't ask me why. I don't know the answer to that mystery. So we're going to close the drawer, and then we're going to set this for 310 degrees for 8 minutes. Then we'll come back and we'll show you what they look like. Now I was also going to mention that if you don't want to use crescent roll dough, you can use puff pastry dough. And if you use puff pastry dough, you'll want to set that for 12 minutes because that's going to take a little longer to cook. If you don't have an air fryer, you certainly can make these in your oven. And you're going to want to put those in the oven at 350 degrees for about 15 to 18 minutes or until the crescent roll dough is cooked. Who doesn't like, you know, a crescent dog? I grew up with them. I think they're fantastic. And every now and then it's a lovely treat. And I think your kids are going to like this. So we're going to be back when these come out. Alright, these are all done and ready to plate up. And now we're going to go have some fun and make our mummies look distressed and wicked. So I'll be right back. Well, there you have it, our mummy dogs. I went ahead and I gave them some ghoulish mustard yellow eyes, and I made them bleed from their brains because, you know, mummies. So we've got some ketchup and some mustard. You can do yours up any way you want. I've actually seen some that call for those little candy eyes, but are your kids not going to get enough candy on Halloween? I don't think you need to start them off with candy eyes on their hot dog. I personally would not do that, but that's just me. These are super fast and easy, and I think your kids are going to have a lot of fun even helping you make them before they get to dress up in their costume and go out and get all their booty. So, I think these are cute, and they smell really good, and they really harken back to my childhood. You know, when I was a kid, Pillsbury used to make hot dog wraps in a tube like they make the crescent rolls and the biscuits. They stopped making those like in the mid 80s, and they used to come in different flavors. They used to come like in plain, and they had cheese ones, and they had, I think they had 4 flavors. My mom bought them a couple of times and they were fun, but you know, sometimes even now I will make crescent dogs in the oven like in the middle of winter. It's just fun. It's something different than just having hot dogs for dinner, and then you pair that with salad and macaroni and cheese, and it's a lot of fun. You can make a really quick mac and cheese that has sliced green olives in it that look like eyeballs, and that would be a fun thing to put on the table for your kids for Halloween dinner. Super easy and super quick marshmallow caramel popcorn balls. And first of all, you're gonna need some popcorn. I have what is the equivalent of 2 bags of microwave popcorn. Now, you can pop your own. You're gonna need like 2 batches, okay? So this is about 18 to 20 cups of popcorn. I have 1 16-ounce bag of regular marshmallows, and I'm keeping it real here, folks. I had a bag of marshmallows sitting in my snack bin that I had intended to use for something else.
And they're not stale. They're still,
no, they're just super sticky, and they stuck together a little bit. So I probably bought these a few months ago, and I'm using them. We're gonna melt them down anyway, so don't judge me. Just please don't.
Use what you got.
Use what you got. This is a bag of marshmallows. We all have a bag of marshmallows sitting in our pantry, and eventually this happens. So I'm using it. So that's a 16-ounce bag of regular. These are just regular marshmallows, the regular sized one. A cup of packed brown sugar, 1 stick of melted butter, and then we're going to use a tablespoon of pure vanilla extract and a teaspoon of salt. If you want to leave that out, that's fine. I also have some really cute Halloween sprinkles, since these are going to be for Halloween time. You can of course decorate these up any way you like and make them for any occasion that you like. We're going to go over to the stove and we're going to set up and we're going to make our sticky kind of marshmallow coating that's going to hold our popcorn balls together. Alright, I went ahead and I melted together our sugar and the melted butter. I just put them both in the pot. I have them over medium-high heat right now, and I brought them to a little bit of a boil. That took about 5 minutes. And you want to stand here and stir it while that's happening. It's going to look like a hot mess at the beginning because the sugar and the butter are not going to want to come together and play nice with each other, so it's going to look like broken and separated. But fear not, because the longer it's over the heat and the more you stir it, and you'll see that it's going to start to look a little more opaque than it did before. And that's when you want to put in your extra sticky marshmallows that you had sitting in your pantry, like me. And you just want to get those in there, and they're going to start melting. And then this is going to take another 5 minutes, okay? So don't worry about it. It's all going to come together, and I'll be back when this is melted. I'll tell you about how long it took. This has melted, and there's this one stubborn little marshmallow piece that is like waiting till the very last minute. He will not submit. Oh, I have turned off the burner, and now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt, maybe a little bit less. That's optional. You don't have to put it on in there. And we're going to add our vanilla. And you always want to make sure that you have your burner off when you add the vanilla. That's going to burn off the alcohol that's in the vanilla extract. And because chemistry is a wonderful thing, it is going to actually do a little something to your mixture, and it's going to make it less, you're not going to get any webs when you do this now, but you want this to be liquidy and beautiful and make a ribbon when it pours from your spoon. And now what we're going to do is go back over to the counter, and we're going to pour this deliciousness over our popcorn and make some popcorn balls.
Yep.
Okay, now all we're going to do is going to pour this caramelly, marshmallowy, luscious mixture right over top of our popcorn. Please make sure that you have the biggest bowl available. Don't get this on your fingers because it is super hot. Now you want to get in here and you want to stir, 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 and you want to make sure everything is coated with that marshmallowy goodness. And the best part about this mixture is that you didn't have to get out a candy thermometer. You didn't have to be so precise in making the caramel, and we'll use air quotes when we say caramel, for your popcorn that it had to be like this giant science experiment. But it's going to be delicious, and everybody's going to love them. I'm going to put on some gloves, grab a sheet pan, and we're going to start making popcorn balls. I have to apologize because I got so into rolling up these popcorn balls that I intended to show you the last two, and then Molly came and we were talking and I just did it. So what I'm going to do is I actually got 13 out of this because I made them a little smaller. I think sometimes popcorn balls are just way too big, especially if you're giving them to small kids. And so I made mine just as big as, you know, the palm of my hand. It's really the size of a baseball, wouldn't you say? It's about the size of a baseball. So when you are forming these, you're just gonna grab a piece in your hand, and you want to be very careful because that caramel is super hot. This is what's left of the last ball that I had. So what I do, and I'm gonna show you, rubber gloves, a little bit of cooking spray or butter, so that it doesn't stick to the palm of your hand, and then you're just gonna grab a good portion that will fit in the palm of your hand, or however big you're gonna do it. And then what you want to do is you want to turn them, and you want to pack it, and you want to make like a snowball, exactly like you're making a snowball, and you just want to get them nice and firm. And then if you're gonna put sprinkles on it, I put some sprinkles in a little bowl, and I just kind of push them into the popcorn ball all the way around. You don't have to do that, it's up to you. Some people like to put the sprinkles in with the popcorn and then it is throughout, but I figured, you know, you're gonna waste a lot of sprinkles when you really only want them to be on the outside anyway. So that is how I form them. I will say, if you're gonna be making these with children, you are going to want to highly supervise them. The caramel is very hot and will burn their tender hands. Please monitor. And if you have small children, this is not something they want to do with you. This is something they'll want to watch you do. Have them be in charge of the sprinkles. That will make them excited to get involved, and that will make them feel like they are taking a part in this whole process. So
I tried to put that sudden thing out of misery.
You want to take that and put it out of its misery? So I got 13, but if you distributed what was left of this, there was one other about the same size. If you distributed it, they're all going to be about just a little bit bigger. Not a whole lot went into this. It was super easy. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm just going to fix these pretty for you, and then I'll be back and we'll have some final thoughts. And there you have it, our really delicious and kind of cute popcorn balls. These are great for Halloween especially, but think about Christmas. You could make these large or small. You could have them for a party. You can give them away as gifts. If you want to give them out for Halloween, that's also great. These popcorn balls look great and they taste pretty good too. Today we're going to be making a Halloween style chocolate bark. It's going to be a little bit sweet. Oh, it's going to be a whole lot sweet. It's going to have a little bit of a salty edge to it. But one thing is for sure, it's going to be delicious, and it's going to be perfect for you to take and share to a bake sale, or a Halloween dinner, or a Halloween potluck, or some church function. Maybe you don't do Halloween, maybe you do trunk or treat, maybe you do first fruits and fall harvest celebration, things like that. This is going to be the perfect thing to take and share. What we're going to need is a pound. This is actually a 22-ounce bag of better quality white chocolate chips. This is the Ghirardelli brand, and we're going to be melting this, and this is going to be the base for our bark. We're going to top our bark off with some, these are the cutest little mini, they're called teeny tiny twists, and I think they're made by Snyder's, but you can use just mini pretzels, or you could use big pretzels and just break them up if you like. We're going to be using some chocolate covered peanut candies, and I'm going to be melting some more chocolate chips to drizzle on the top. We're going to be using some candy corn, some dry roasted peanuts, and some peanut butter, coated peanut butter candies. You can really do whatever you want. I've seen people throw crushed Oreos on here. I decided to leave that off because we've got a lot of sweetness going on already, and I didn't think that we really needed a cookie in there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to melt the chocolate, and then we'll be right back and we'll talk about that, and we'll build our bark. All right, we're all ready to start building our bark. I went ahead and I melted the chocolate. you guys, if you've never melted chocolate before, on the back of the bag of the brand that I bought, there were melting instructions. But just for future reference, this was a 22-ounce bag of chocolate, white chocolate chips. I stuck them in this mixing bowl and I put them in my microwave, which is 1200 watts, for 111, a minute and 11 seconds. Now, I have a baking sheet here that I've lined with foil as well as some parchment. This is just gonna help me build my bark. And I also melted my chocolate chips, my milk chocolate chips, and I put them in a little baggie so that after, when we want to drizzle this, we can just snip the tip right off that bag and use it like a little piping bag. So I'm just going to set this aside. We're going to pour our white chocolate out on this baking sheet. Now, when you're melting, your microwave may not be as strong as mine. Mine only took the minute and 11 seconds. It was actually perfect. Chocolate will oftentimes look like it's not melted, but it really is. All you have to do is stir it up, and the residual heat that's still in there is going to melt what's remaining. You will want to start off with a minute and then stir it and then put it in the microwave for 15-second intervals until you reach the perfect consistency. So now what you want to do is just pour this out on your baking sheet or your prepared surface. And this is when you just start spreading it out. You want to try and get it as even as possible. But remember, this is bark. It doesn't have to be perfect in any way. And there we go. Now the fun part. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start sprinkling on some of our toppings. This is completely up to you. You can make this with as many or as few fun toppings as you like. I have not given you measurements for the toppings because that is a subjective idea and you should put on what you like. This is what we're using in ours. And because it's, you know, this is a Halloween theme, we're using Halloween style candies. On with our chocolate peanut candies. This is just gonna look super festive. I'm gonna put pretzels in here because I think chocolate covered pretzels are pretty yummy. Remember, we're going to be drizzling this also with milk chocolate. I also have some dry roasted peanuts. And of course, if you don't like peanuts or have a peanut allergy, you'll know to leave those out. And I made something else with the rest of the bag of these little peanut butter candies, so I'm just going to go ahead and toss them on my bark. That way they get used up and they don't go to waste. And I am probably going to take this to my Bible study. I'm going to grab a piece of parchment paper and I'm just going to put it on top. And I'm going to give this a gentle press. Just so we can really make sure that all of those delicious toppings are embedded in there. And now we're going to put our chocolate drizzle on here of this bag and then just start drizzling away. You may or may not use all of the chocolate that you melted. You can let this set at room temperature for approximately 2 hours to set up, or you can pop it in your refrigerator for about 30 to 40 minutes and let it set up that way. So that's what we're going to do now, and then we'll bring you back when it's ready to go. Our Halloween bark has been in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. We were busy doing other things and we just let it do what it needed to do, and we came back to it and it's perfect and ready to break up. Now all you need to do is come in here. You can use a knife or you can just use your fingers and you can break it up. I'm gonna put it on a mat and use a knife to cut it up into shards, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna let you see what it looks like. There you have it. There is our festive Halloween bark ready to enjoy for the holiday. This is so easy to make, and really there are limitless possibilities when it comes to this. Do you like dark chocolate? Use that as your base instead of the white chocolate. You put on the bark what you like. Dried fruit, nuts, whatever it is that you prefer. You can make this for Christmas, for Halloween, for Valentine's Day. It's great to take when you're visiting someone or if you've been invited to their home. You show up with a lovely bag of this and present it to the hostess and they're just gonna love you.